All right, I'm going to go through my string inventory. Let's start with my synthetic guts. I've got a few options for synthetic gut. I have this Genesis Blizzard, which is a relatively crisp synthetic gut. It has decent durability. It's not the most durable synthetic gut, but normally with good players, by the time this breaks, they're ready to change it out anyway. So it's relatively crisp. If you like a more muted feel, now this is in a 16L, so 1.25, so it's in between a 16 and a 17 gauge. Now I have the synthetic gut Titan, and this says it's a 16 gauge, a 1.3, but in my opinion, it actually plays a little thinner, and it might thin out as you pull tension on it. This is a more muted feel, so if you like the feel of, say, a dead poly, or you just like that more muted feel, then this is a better option. It also has like a layer of silicone on it, so it slides a little better, and I like using this a little bit more in hybrids because the poly tends to slide across this synthetic gut better than the Blizzard. I like using the Blizzard in a full setup if someone likes more of a crisper synthetic gut. If they like a muted feeling, then this is the better option. And this is also a more muted option. Plays a little bit more like a multi-filament, and this is the Spiral Flex. This is in a 16 gauge, 1.3, and this one to me plays like a 16 gauge. It feels a little bit thicker than the synthetic gut Titan. It also has a silicone coating, so it slides pretty well. So you can use this with a poly or use it in a full bed. And then just a very basic synthetic gut I've got in a kind of a neat color in pink. And then I have a few multi-filaments. This is one's from Head, the synthetic gut PPS multi-filament and 16 gauge. And then I have maybe enough to do one racket or a half a set of the Sensation, so I'll probably need to get some more synthetic gut. I'm sorry, multi-filament. For polys, let's start with the Black Magic. I've got a couple reels of the Black Magic, and both of these are in 17 gauge, 1.23 millimeters. So it's on the thicker side of the 17 gauge, but nonetheless, this is a very, very soft co-poly. In fact, this would be the co-poly I would recommend for players that are just moving from a synthetic gut over to a poly that wants to stay with something that's pretty arm friendly. It's fairly low on power, fairly muted playing, and just super soft and super comfortable. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit more durability than synthetic gut, but has qualities like a synthetic gut, then this is the best poly, in my opinion. And let's go to the Big Ace, and this is in a 17 gauge, 1.25, and this is a very crisp playing, but soft co-poly string. So it slides really well, especially right off the stringer, and is a little bit crisper than some of the polys out there. Decent in durability. And this Hexonic Power, this is in a 16L, so it's in between a 16 and 17 gauge. This is a shape poly, so this actually has some edges on it that grip the ball a little bit better. It slides real well off the stringer, holds tension pretty well, and has a little bit more power than your typical poly. Has very good durability as well. And I've got this Pro Advantage, and this is kind of a middle of the road in terms of durability. It's relatively low power and is in between a crisp and a muted poly. And this one's in a 16 gauge. Got this Big Hitter Silver Rough. This should be similar to a Power Rough. I find it to be relatively low power and doesn't slide quite as well as some of the other polys. So I don't find that it has quite as much spin as some of the other polys, but I find it much better in terms of control, so you don't get at those stray balls that just kind of launch off the racket and you're not, you know, you kind of scratch your head. This seems to have a little bit more control than some of the other polys. And if you're wanting something that's just an absolute spin monster, this blue gear, which is in a 1.28, so it's in between a 16 and 17 gauge, closer to a 16 gauge, and this is pretty stiff and low powered, but and super durability. But in terms of spin, it's just crazy. You can see the fuzz jump off the ball. Now over time, these edges will wear off, but you can use your fingernail. You can feel those edges. They're very, very aggressive in terms of digging into the ball. Then I've got this Trionic. Again, this is a shape poly. It's a little bit more muted than the blue gear and a little bit softer than the blue gear. Maybe not quite as durable as the blue gear, but again, another spin monster, and this is in a 1.3. And then I've got another reel of the blue gear. I've got this Kevlar in 17 gauge for folks that like Kevlar. And I've got some random sets here, some more sets of the, oh actually, this was the predecessor to the Hexonic Power. This is the regular Hexonic, and to me they play very similar. This is in an 18 gauge, and I also have, well, maybe that's my last set of that. And I've got more of the Big Ace in 17 gauge. I've got this Black Fusion, which I've played with a few times. This is a nice kind of, it's very similar to the Black Magic, but it's has a shape to it. Black Magic is round, where the Black Fusion is shaped. And then I've got another package of the synthetic gut Blizzard. So I think that is about it. So that gives you an idea of what I've got in inventory right now. I'm probably going to order some strings. I just finished up a couple reels, but this is what I have for right now.